I stood in my Portland, Maine, apartment, the scent of cedar from my sketchbooks mingling with the salt air drifting through the open window. My phone buzzed on the counter, Claire's name flashing across the screen. My younger sister, all of 25, with her influencer smile and a life that seemed to glitter even through a phone call. I was Olivia Harper, 29, the one who held things together, bills paid, crises managed, family expectations met. My graphic design job kept me tethered to deadlines, but my real love was my blog, where I posted sketches of Maine's rugged coastlines and quiet forests, a small corner of the internet where I could be more than just reliable Olivia. Hey, Olivia, you didn't hear about the Florida Keys trip? Claire's voice was all syrupy concern, the kind that made my jaw tighten. I thought Mom told you. We're all going next month, Mom, Dad, me, and Jake. Someone's gotta watch Luna and Jasper, though. Mom figured you'd do it. Her words landed like a stone in my chest. The mug in my hand, still warm from morning coffee, felt heavy enough to crack. A family vacation to the Keys, and I wasn't invited. Instead, they'd penciled me in for cat-sitting duty, as if my life was just a blank space for their convenience. I leaned against the counter, staring at the sketch I'd been working on, a lighthouse perched on a cliff, its lines sharp against the storm clouds I'd drawn. No, Claire, Mom didn't mention anything, I said, my voice steady despite the ache. Not about the Keys or the cats. Oh, you know, Mom, Claire laughed, light as sea foam. She probably forgot. You're not doing anything big, right? It's just a week, and Luna gets so stressed at the borders. Mom's counting on you since, well, you're staying here. Staying here. Because they hadn't thought to include me. I thought of the family dinners at our clapboard house on the edge of town, the way conversations about vacations or celebrations always seemed to skirt around me. The times Mom asked about my work schedule, casual as anything, now felt like reconnaissance for their plans. Dad's recent questions about my dating life, probably checking if I had plans that might interfere with their needs. It all clicked, sharp and painful, like the snap of a pencil lead. That evening, Mom called, her voice bright as a real estate brochure. Olivia, honey, we need a favor. It's about Luna and Jasper while we're in the Keys. She didn't mention my exclusion, just launched into details about the cat's organic food and Jasper's anxiety meds, as if I'd already said yes. No, wish you could come, no, maybe next time. Just the assumption I'd fall in line, like always. I'll think about it, I said, my fingers already on my laptop, scrolling through images of Olympic National Park, moss-draped forests, wild beaches, a place I'd dreamed of sketching since art school. The dates aligned perfectly with their trip. A sale popped up on the screen, and my heart raced. For once, I wasn't going to be the one left behind. The sting of Claire's call lingered as I sat at my drafting table, sketching the curve of a wave I'd seen last weekend at Popham Beach. My apartment, a small loft with exposed brick and a view of Portland's harbor, was my sanctuary, but tonight it felt like a cage. I couldn't shake the image of my family plotting their Florida Keys escape, whispering plans behind my back. It wasn't just this trip, it was a lifetime of being the afterthought. Growing up in our weathered Maine home, I was the one who kept things steady. When Mom's anxiety spiked, I'd organize her open house schedules. When Claire ditched college for New York's modeling scene, I was the one reassuring everyone she'd be fine. My acceptance to the Maine College of Art, with a full scholarship, earned a quick, "That's nice," dear from Mom and Dad before they threw a lavish party for Claire's high school drama award. My diploma hung on the fridge for a day, replaced by Claire's headshots. She was the star, sparkling, impulsive, the one who could do no wrong, even when she burned through Mom and Dad's savings chasing her truth in New York. I'd clawed my way through art school, working nights at a diner and weekends at a print shop, graduating with honors and building a solid design career. My blog, where I posted sketches of places I'd visited, Acadia's granite peaks, Boston's hidden gardens, was my quiet rebellion, a space where I wasn't just the family's fixer. It had 15,000 followers now, but to Mom, Dad, and Claire, it was Olivia's little hobby, like my high school poetry or the sketches I'd done for their Christmas cards. Claire's text buzzed my phone as I scrolled through flights to Seattle, gateway to Olympic National Park. Mom says you're being weird about the cats. Come on, Olivia. Don't make this hard. You've got all those vacation days, right? What else would you do? I stared at her words, my thumb hovering over a book now button. She assumed I had no life beyond their needs, that my days off were just waiting for their emergencies. They'd never asked about my blog, never noticed the trips I took alone to sketch new landscapes. To them, I was the one who stayed put, who never said no. The pattern went back years. When Claire announced her New York move, Mom and Dad threw a farewell bash, renting out a harborfront restaurant. My college graduation? A rushed dinner at home, cut short because Claire needed a ride to the airport for a last-minute audition. I'd smiled through it, swallowing the hurt, because that's what Olivia did. But tonight, staring at a photo of Olympics Ho rainforest, its emerald moss glowing under a misty sky, something broke open inside me. I clicked book, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and freedom. For once, I was choosing myself. Sunday dinner at my parents' house in Yarmouth was a ritual, Mom's lobster bisque steaming in the tureen, Dad carving the roast, Claire snapping selfies with her boyfriend Jake by the fireplace. The dining room, with its faded wallpaper and view of the snowy harbor, hummed with their chatter about the Florida Keys, coral reefs, sunset cruises, Jake's new snorkel gear. I sat at my usual spot, the one with the wobbly chair, feeling like a guest in their story. I waited for a lull, my pulse thudding in my ears. I've made other plans for those dates, I said, setting down my fork. You'll need to find someone else to watch Luna and Jasper. Mom's spoon froze midair, bisque dripping onto the tablecloth. Other plans? What could be more important than helping your family? Her voice was sharp, like the crack of ice on the bay. I'm going to Olympic National Park, I said, meeting her eyes. Washington. Same week as your Keys trip. I pulled up my itinerary on my phone, the screen glowing with flight details. I'm sketching the rainforest and coastline for my blog. Claire laughed, a brittle sound. Washington? You're not serious, Olivia. She leaned back, tossing her auburn hair, as if my plans were a joke. Dad just stared, his knife paused over the roast. Completely serious, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Maybe Jake can watch the cats, since he's family enough for the Keys. That's different, Claire snapped. Jake's my partner, and he's allergic. Besides, you're always here for this stuff. Exactly, I said, standing, my chair scraping the hardwood. I'm always here. Reliable Olivia, fixing your problems, watching your pets, never making a fuss. Did it ever cross your mind to invite me? To think I might want to join my family on a vacation? The silence was thick, like fog rolling in from the Atlantic. Mom's face crumpled, but she didn't speak. Dad looked at his plate, avoiding my gaze. Claire's mouth opened, then closed, her usual confidence faltering. I'm done being your backup plan, I said, grabbing my coat. Figure out the cats. You always do when it's about you. I walked out into the snowy night, the cold biting my cheeks, but inside, I felt a spark of something new, defiance, bright as a lighthouse beam, cutting through years of being unseen. The next week was a storm of family pressure, each message a wave crashing against my resolve. Claire showed up at my apartment unannounced, her parka dusted with snow, her face a mix of irritation and disbelief. You're really doing this to spite us, aren't you? She said, barging past me to flop onto my couch, her boots leaving wet streaks on the floor. This isn't you, Olivia. You're the responsible one. Responsible, I echoed, crossing my arms. You mean the one who cleans up your messes? Who stays behind so you can have your adventures? I gestured to my laptop, open to my blog, a sketch of a Bar Harbor pier at dawn, its piling sharp against the pink sky. This is me, Claire. I've been sketching, traveling, building something for years. You just never noticed. She rolled her eyes, scrolling through her phone. Your little art thing? Cute, but come on, the cats need you. Mom's freaking out. Her dismissal stung, just like when she'd laughed off my high school art shows, calling them crafty. Mom's text came next, a barrage of guilt. Luna won't eat at a border. Jasper's meds are every 8 hours. You know how they get. Then a voicemail, her voice trembling. Olivia, we're family. How can you do this to us? I pictured her in her real estate office, surrounded by photos of Claire's modeling shoots, not a single sketch of mine in sight. I sat at my drafting table, sketching the Olympic coastline. I'd soon see rugged cliffs, waves crashing like my own rising anger. My blog had chronicled trips to Acadia, Vermont, even a weekend in Quebec, but my family never asked about them. They saw me as the one who stayed, who handled their emergencies while they chased sunsets. Claire's New York move had been a family-funded spectacle, my art school years, a footnote they barely acknowledged. When Mom called again, her voice was all business. "We'll pay you to watch the cats, Olivia. Name your price." I laughed, bitter. "My Washington tickets were $2,500, Mom. Non-refundable." "You think this is about money?" Claire, still on my couch, looked up, her expression shifting. "You really planned this whole trip already?" For once, she seemed to see me, not just the sister who fixed things. But it wasn't enough, not yet. I found Dolores Martinez through a neighbor's group chat, a retired librarian 2 blocks away who loved cats and had time to spare. Her cozy home, filled with books and catnip toys, was perfect for Luna and Jasper. I met her over coffee, explaining my family situation, and she agreed to pet sit for what Mom would have paid a boarder. "Don't worry, Olivia," she said, her eyes kind behind thick glasses. "I've handled tougher cases than 2 spoiled cats." I didn't tell my family right away. For once, I wanted them to feel the weight of their own plans crumbling, to know what it was like when I wasn't there to catch them. Mom's calls grew frantic, her voicemails piling up, the boarders full. "We might have to cancel the keys." "How could you let this happen?" Claire texted, "You're making Mom cry. This is low, even for you." Even Aunt Susan chimed in, her email lecturing me on family duty, as if I hadn't spent years embodying it. I sat on my balcony, sketching the Portland skyline, its lights blurring in the dusk. My blog's latest post, a sketch of a lone tree on a cliff, captioned, "Choosing Your Own Path," had gone viral, with comments from strangers who felt unseen by their own families. Their words steadied me, reminding me why I was doing this. Finally, at Mom's insistence, I went to another family dinner. The dining room table was a shrine to guilt, Luna's organic food, Jasper's pill bottles, their favorite scratching post. Mom waved a vet schedule at me. "Jasper needs his meds at exactly 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. A boarder won't get it right." "I found someone," I said, sipping my wine. "Dolores Martinez, down the street. She's retired, loves cats, and she's ready to take them. Same rate as the boarder." Mom's face froze, her hand clutching Jasper's pill bottle. "You found someone? Why didn't you say so sooner?" "Because I needed you to understand," I said, my voice calm but firm. "You planned this trip without me, assumed I'd drop everything. For once, I'm not your safety net." I stood, leaving them to their stunned silence, feeling lighter than I had in years. Dolores's agreement wasn't just about the cats, it was my declaration that I was done being invisible. The air in Olympic National Park was sharp with the scent of cedar and salt, the kind of place that made you feel small and infinite all at once. I stood on Ruby Beach, sketching the sea stacks rising from the waves, their silhouettes jagged against the setting sun. My pencils danced across the page, capturing the mist curling through the rainforest, the way the light fractured on the Pacific. For the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about Mom's expectations or Claire's demands. I was just Olivia, sketching the world as I saw it. Each morning, I posted to my blog sketches of Hoh Rainforest's mossy trails, captions about finding your own path, about the courage it takes to step out of someone else's shadow. My followers, now nearing 20,000, flooded the comments with stories of their own, sisters who overshadowed them, parents who didn't see. One wrote, "Your sketches make me want to book a trip and find myself." I read it on a cliff overlooking Lake Crescent, tears pricking my eyes. Back home, my family was unraveling. Mom had canceled her Keys trip, unable to trust Dolores with the cats, though Dolores sent me daily photos of Luna purring on her lap, Jasper chasing a laser pointer. Claire's texts were a mix of anger and awe. "Mom's a mess, but your sketches are unreal. Since when are you this good?" Dad, surprisingly, commented on every post, his words clumsy but earnest. Great lines on that tree, Olivia. Proud of you. One night, at a seaside cafe in Port Angeles, I got a call from Dolores. Your mom's been by 4 times today, she said, chuckling. Brings me pastries, asks if the cats miss her. She's struggling to let go. I laughed, picturing Mom hovering, her control slipping. But I didn't call her back. Instead, I posted another sketch, a lone figure on a beach, captioned, "Sometimes, freedom is drawing your own horizon." The response was electric, my follower count climbing, a local gallery even emailing about showcasing my work. For the first time, I felt seen, not by my family, but by a world that valued what I'd built. I was sketching a tittle in Olympic when Dad's text came through, "Bought you a new sketching journal. Saw you mention wanting one for field notes. Hope it's useful in Washington." I stared at the message, my pencil hovering over the page. The journal was exactly the one I'd eyed online, its leather cover perfect for rugged trips. Part of me wanted to push it away, to reject the gesture as too little, too late. But there was something in Dad's words, genuine, not just an obligation. He'd canceled his Keys trip, staying back to help Dolores with the cats. "Someone's gotta make sure they're okay," he'd told me over the phone, his voice softer than usual. "Plus, I've been reading your blog. Those sketches, they're something special, Olivia." For an hour, we talked about composition, about how I'd learned to capture light in my lines. He even followed my blog, his first comment a simple, "Beautiful work, kiddo." Claire's shift was slower, but it came. She shared my latest post, a sketch of Olympic Seoul Duk Falls on her Instagram, captioning it, "My sister's killing it out west. Check her out." Her followers, used to her polished selfies, flooded my blog with likes. "Didn't know you had it in you," she texted later, a grudging respect in her words. "Your stuff's better than half the influencers I know." Mom was trickier. She called daily, her updates a mix of guilt and critique. "Luna's fine, but she misses you." "And that sketch of the beach? Maybe soften the lines next time." But one evening, she sent a photo of her home office, my sketches now framed on the walls, a rocky Maine shore, a Quebec cathedral. "Had these printed," she wrote. "They're better than I realized." It wasn't an apology, but it was something, a crack in her armor, a sign she was starting to see me. I sat on my hotel balcony, the Pacific's roar below, and sketched a new piece, a figure standing at a crossroads, one path leading to the sea, the other to the forest. I captioned it, "Choosing your own way doesn't mean leaving everyone behind." My family was trying, in their messy, imperfect way. It wasn't everything I wanted, but it was a start. The last night in Olympic, I sat in my cabin, the air thick with pine and the promise of rain. My phone lit up with a message from Mom, a photo of my childhood bedroom, now her office, its walls lined with my framed sketches. Below it, a note. "I've been thinking, Olivia. Your dad said something I didn't want to hear, that we've taken you for granted for so long. We forgot you had your own dreams. I'm not good at saying sorry, but I'm trying to show it. These sketches belong here." I stared at the photo, my throat tight. There was my Acadia sketch, its granite cliffs bold against a stormy sky, next to one from Vermont's Green Mountains. Mom had always filled that room with Claire's modeling clippings, her high school trophies. Now my work claimed space, a quiet revolution on those walls. It wasn't just the frames, it was her admission, raw and unpolished, that she'd missed me all along. I thought back to the years I'd spent fading into the background, organizing Mom's open houses while she cheered Claire's editions, staying silent when my art school shows were skipped for Claire's trips. I'd carried that hurt like a stone in my pocket, heavy but familiar. Now, seeing my sketches in her space, I felt the stone lighten, not gone, but easier to carry. I called her, the phone trembling in my hand. "I saw the pictures," I said. "The frames, they mean a lot." Her voice was soft, almost shy. "They're beautiful, Olivia. I didn't realize how much you saw in the world until I looked at them closely." She paused, then added, "I'm sorry we didn't invite you to the Keys. I just assumed you'd be too busy." "It's not about busy," I said, my voice breaking. "It's about being seen." The words hung between us, fragile but true. She didn't argue, didn't deflect. For the first time, I felt heard. Later, I sketched a woman on a cliff, her back to the sea, facing a horizon she'd chosen. I posted it with a caption, "Sometimes, standing up for yourself builds a bridge, not a wall." The comments poured in, but it was Mom's, simple and new "I'm learning, Olivia," that made me cry. I wasn't just the reliable one anymore. I was Olivia, the artist, the dreamer, stepping into my own light. Back in Portland, the harbor air felt different, sharper, like it carried the echo of Olympics wildness. My apartment was the same, yet I wasn't. The sketches I'd brought back, rainforests, sea stacks, a lone eagle over Lake Crescent, lined my walls, proof of a world I'd claimed for myself. My blog's followers had doubled, a gallery in Freeport emailing about a potential show. But it was the family dinner that loomed, a test of whether the shift I'd felt in Washington would hold. Mom's dining room was quieter this time, the table set with her usual precision, though Luna and Jasper's toys were tucked away, a sign Dolores had managed fine. Claire was subdued, no selfies, just a quick smile as she passed the biscuits. Dad, though, was different. His eyes lit up when he saw me, pointing to a framed sketch of Popham Beach on the wall. "That one's my favorite," he said. "The way you got the light on the waves." Mom's gaze lingered on me, not the food or Claire's chatter. "Dolores sent photos every day," she said, almost grudgingly. "The cats were fine. Better than fine." It was her way of admitting she'd been wrong to panic, wrong to assume I'd always be there to fix things. Claire spoke up, her voice softer than usual. "My yoga class keeps asking about your blog, Olivia. They want you to do a sketching workshop at the studio." She hesitated, then added, "I didn't get it before, how big this is for you." I nodded, the warmth of their words mingling with caution. They were trying Mom with her frames, Dad with his comments, Claire with her outreach, but years of being sidelined didn't vanish overnight. I thought of Dolores, who'd texted me a photo of her and Dad laughing over coffee, the cats sprawled nearby. "You shook them up, Olivia," she'd written. "They're seeing you now." That night, I sketched the harbor from my balcony, the lights reflecting like stars on the water. My family wasn't perfect. Mom still fussed over details. Claire still had flashes of envy, but they were looking at me, not through me. It was enough to keep going, to keep drawing my own path. Thanksgiving brought us back to Mom's dining room, the scent of roasted turkey and cranberry sauce thick in the air. The walls were a gallery now, my sketches of Maine's coast, Quebec streets, and Olympics rainforests hung alongside old family photos, a quiet acknowledgement that I belonged in their story. My blog's logo, a stylized wave, adorned the place cards Mom had made, a gesture that felt like a hand reaching across years of distance. "We've got news," Mom said, her voice lighter than I'd heard in months. "We're planning a family trip to the Smoky Mountains." I braced myself, expecting the usual exclusion, but Claire cut in, her eyes bright. "We want you to plan it, Olivia. Your blog's followers went wild for your Washington stuff. You're the expert now." Dad pulled out a folder, his teacher's habit of organization showing. "Found some photography tours in Tennessee," he said, grinning. "Thought you could teach us how to sketch a mountain, not just snap selfies." Mom nodded, trying for casual. "Dolores is booked to watch the cats. I asked her weeks ago, just in case." I looked at them, Mom, still controlling, but channeling it into pride, Dad, finding a new connection through my art, Claire, seeing me as a person, not a rival. The Smoky Mountains felt right, a place of mist and peaks where we could start fresh. "I'm in," I said, pulling up my phone to share ideas, a trail in Great Smoky Mountains National Park, a cabin with a view for sketching. "But I'm handling the itinerary." "Wouldn't have it any other way," Dad said, his smile warm. Later, I sat alone, sketching the table as it had been, my family, flawed but trying, their faces lit by candlelight. I posted it to my blog, captioned, "Family is a canvas, messy, imperfect, but worth redrawing." To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. You've walked with me through hurt, defiance, and new beginnings. If my story moved you, hit subscribe and join me. Every sketch tells a tale of finding your place, claiming your light, and building bridges back to those you love. Keep drawing your own truth, and I'll meet you on the trail.